audit that took place, and Mr. Gloria's bill here will help implement and hopefully help other cities that also face the same situation we did a year and a half ago. So with that, we ask for your support.
Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to stop and take. We have a quorum, so I'll ask the Madam Secretary to please take the roll.
Wood.
Aye, here.
Mays. Hager-Curry.
Here.
Bigelow.
Here.
Bonta. Burke. Correa. Flora. Limon.
Here.
McCarty.
Tons of parents have been to this Capitol to speak when SB 277 came up, and one of the things that we addressed was the CDC whistleblower, William Thompson, who came out and said that in the CDC they have been committing fraud in terms of our vaccination program. Our concern is authoritarianism. And I hope that this measure is really tailored to meet the specific needs. During the audit, for example, it was mentioned that some of these suggestions were that you could use hand washing stations, access to restrooms, that street cleaning. These were measures that we absolutely support. We have homeless camps across this country, and these situations are absolutely a dire truth that this is a situation that could cause a plague. We have to ask ourselves, why do we have such a homeless epidemic in this country? And I would venture to say that one of the big things is we are overly taxed. We have the highest cost of living inside of the United States, and we have to really address this. I'm with you in full support that we need to treat these people not as rats in the streets. These are human beings. So what I'm asking is simply that when we look at what we're going to do moving forward, that Representative Fletcher made a comment also that this was a humanity issue. And I agree with that statement full-heartedly. This is a humanity issue. That requires a humane approach. It does not require authoritarianism. Now, I would also just ask that when we're dealing with these legislative bills that affect so many Californians, you mentioned, Representative Gloria, that you want to hear the voice of the people. I would ask that we also introduce legislation that gives us more than 3 minutes to speak on such matters that affect so many Californians every single day. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Which is to alert the public of communicable disease and ensure that it's addressed quickly and effectively as currently worded. This bill is overly broad and could result in the abuse of power. It gives unilateral blanket authority to the health officer to issue, quote-unquote, directives to other governmental entities within that jurisdiction to take any action the health officer deems necessary. It's that word, any, that we have an issue with. It also, in the amendments, make it even more broad that say that during an outbreak of communicable disease or upon imminent and proximate threat of a communicable disease, that action should be taken. An outbreak in California, and according to the CDC, is 3 people, regardless of cost. You brought this bill forward in response to the hepatitis A outbreak in San Diego. However, the audit report makes it clear that this issue is not what action was actually happened, but how quickly and effectively that action was taken. This bill doesn't fully address that and instead gives the local health officer just more police powers. While we may believe that today's health officers would do the right thing, we've all lived in a time where we don't agree with the officials in power. California has a long record of medical abuse on its people, so what could this bill lead to? The separation of children and parents if they refuse medical treatment, quarantine of every member in a certain zip code. What would happen if an official who decided that the name of common good and protecting others, that they could metaphorically invade our bedrooms and mandate that everyone had protected sex so an STD epidemic doesn't spread? The legislature is tasked at drawing lines. This bill does not draw a line. To give a specific example, in the United Kingdom, where I grew up, there was a swine flu outbreak in 2009. There aren't the constitutional rights that we have, and so the solution was to simply vaccinate 6 million people in a program unprecedented for its scale and its size. It turns out that 1 in every 50,000 people who were given that vaccine, it caused an immune system to attack the whole clusters of their neurons in their brain. For people genetically predisposed, the vaccine actually triggers their own bodies to give their brains a partial lobotomy. Now, the best scientists in the UK studied this for 6 years, and in 2015, the British government again officially acknowledged publicly that it was true and that they expect to be paying hundreds of people over $1.5 million. That sum's not sufficient to compensate what happens to those people that had that effect. This bill may be more restrictive. This bill has to be more restrictive so that less intrusive but effective and quickly actionable policies are taken before the most restrictive and invasive ones are, and that it doesn't infringe on a person's fundamental constitutional rights. When dealing with something as precious as fundamental rights, it requires the legislature to be mindful of an equal ancient concept of hubris.
Thank you.
I have one more paragraph. We also believe we would like to have an amendment that ensures that after an outbreak, there is a post-outbreak analysis done by the health officer, which is equivalent to the audit that was done, so that the plan for a response should be amended in the future. And while we'll continue to work with the author's office, I understand this bill will be voted out of this committee, but we ask that you require the word any be substituted for something more narrowly tailored prior to passing it out of the committee, and that the health officer is responsible for a post-outbreak analysis. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Others in opposition?
All right. So this is my holistic Dr. Kennedy. My son here. So we just finished a proceeding here at Sacramento. AB 262. It sounds like there was not a decision made, right?
No, it was not scheduled to have a vote. They're taking public comment about it.
Okay. Could you just give us kind of a your take, how you're feeling at the moment, kind of what happened in there, and why it's important for people to show up like we did today, and how we basically showed them that there is strength in numbers.
Well, this, of course, as he says, Assembly Bill 262, and they're proposing that county health officers, or to say one specific officer in each county, would have complete authority to deal with anything they consider to be an outbreak. And an outbreak, of course, is of anything like Hep A, for example, was a big problem in San Diego, mainly among the homeless population. That an outbreak is defined as 3 cases, and an epidemic is 7 cases. So dealing with really small numbers, and they want to give, by the way the bill is written now, absolute authority to that singular health official in each county to take any step, do anything a person considers necessary. And thought on our side is that's too much authority for one person to have under in a circumstance that might be debatable, to say the least, in terms of what would be best to control a so-called outbreak or epidemic. And so the point today was for the public to be able to express their point of view, and two people on our side did a really good job.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job.
Especially Christina Hilbrand. And then everyone had the opportunity to line up and voice their opinion.
Right.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
I opposed this bill.
Right.
Basically, that's what most people said.
And I added a little something to it, but
right.
My kids are healthy, and I wanted to stay that way.
Right.
You know.
And so I guess there were several hundred people here lined up, and a lot of public support for at least modifying this bill, if not killing it altogether.
Right. Now, the way I see it, Doc, is that if this passes, it's one step closer to mandatory vaccinations, and
you could say so. In the sense that county official could say, well, everyone has to line up and be vaccinated, no choice.
Right. What's to stop them from taking that into their own hands and doing it?
Well,
with this,
I mean, you write a law and you say anything. That word "any" is what we're.
It's very ambiguous. Yeah.
So there really should be I would say a panel of experts, people well versed in how to handle so-called outbreaks and epidemics.
Right.
Rather than just putting it in the hands of one person who might turn out to be not so well informed
Right.
about the best way to do such things.
Right. Okay. Now, does Senator Pan have anything to do with AB 262?
I didn't hear his name spoken, but he's in there.
He's usually
he's
has something to do with
somewhere. Darth Pan.
Darth Pan. Yep. Okay. So where do we go from here? Is there going to be another proceeding like this where we can show up and voice our opposition
For AB 262.
For AB 262?
Not that I know of. This may be the only one.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Okay. And so if there is another proposed bill that would take away our rights to decide what goes in our bodies and our kids' bodies, I think we should show up like we did today again.
Yeah, of course. That's already been, in a way, decided.
Yeah.
But we'd like to roll that one back if we can.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you for doing what you do, and we support you as you in your, basically your lawsuit against the medical board.
In case folks out there don't know, I'm suing the medical board for trolling for doctors who give vaccination exemptions.
Yep.
For no other reason than they're doing vaccination exemptions.
Right, for no other reason. No, and wasn't SB 277 written with the specific language that said medical vaccinations would not be, there would be no
Exemptions.
There would be exemptions given only if there's medical exemption, right? That's a legitimate reason.
That medical exemptions would be unchallenged.
Unchallenged, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, but now they're starting to challenge
well,
that.
now, if you listen to Senator Pan now, contrasted with what he was saying before, it's like hearing two different people speaking.
Right, right, exactly. And so we're calling him out on that.
Yeah.
Right? And okay.
Like your psychiatrist saying, don't worry, we'll fix this anxiety, you're fine.
Yeah.
And then the next time you talk to them, they say, look, you're a paranoid schizophrenic, we have to put you in the hospital.
Yeah.
Nothing else changes except
it's two different stories, right?
Totally different stories.
And Senator Pan is getting some contributions, let's say, from a certain industry, right?
Well, I've heard the figure 93,000. This was something like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Money talks.
That sounded very authentic.
Yeah. So, what's next? What's next for you with the medical board lawsuit?
Well, we're waiting for the court date to be set in San Francisco.
Okay.
It should have already. We thought it would be in there by now, but these things get dragged out. Let's put it this way: either they win or I win. Regardless, doesn't matter. Somebody wins, somebody loses, and then we're going to a higher court. And then after that, we're going to another higher court, and that will probably be where it's settled. So then we'll know, will the medical board be allowed to troll doctors?
Yeah.
To shut them down for their political opinion about a medical issue. That's what it amounts to.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we'll know more on the court date soon.
To be continued.
Okay. All right. Well, we support you, and you can go to medical-library.net, right?
www.medical-library.net.
And donate.
If you want to support the legal expenses, which are enormous, by the way.
Yeah. To go against the medical board, California.
Make a donation there.
Yeah. Okay.
PayPal.
All right. Well, thanks, Doc, and I feel inspired with the amount of people that showed up today.
Absolutely.
My heart was beating, and I feel alive, and I feel like we were made for these times.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing like a purpose-driven life.
A purpose-driven life.
To keep you really alive.
Absolutely. And I could feel the energy with some of the people I was next to. There's something there. There's something there.
Yes.
So we need to build on this. Thank you for leading that way. And I'm going to do what I can in my power, and I'm going to share what information I'm coming across that you send me as well. I am sharing it with my followers, so we can keep the train of awareness moving.
Yeah, if anyone wants to be on the action list, on my email action list, just send me your email and make that request.
Nexus@sonic.net.
That's another email. Yeah.
Okay.
Nexus, NEXUS@sonic, SONIC.net.
Okay. All right, Doc. We've taken up enough time. Thank you.
Okay, Dave. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.